debut of the talk with me, Kimotho HSC, the son of Metumi. It's our debut, the first one. Here we say some insights, and best said by some insights, and best written. You can find me on Facebook as Kimotho HSC, on Twitter or X is Kimotho HSC or Son of Metumi with a double I. I prefer myself as a political commentator on matters on matters politics. This is what we shall be focusing on. This is part of what every Kenyan should engage in. This is part of what we call civic education. It is part of which lacks within the society, and we find ourselves in a bit of a mess like we are in today. You will find just the other day we had the Gen Z led demonstrations where after the first one, the first successful one, the follow-ups were a bit shaky, just because the common mwananchi didn't understand why they were going into the streets. The only conversation that was there was happening into the space, Twitter spaces, and you realize that the common mwananchi, the mama mboga, the boda boda guys, they are not, they might not find the time for those Twitter spaces. They are busy out there finding bread for their families and to sustain their lives. So whatever was happening in the Twitter spaces coming out into the public was quite disorganized, realizing that a lot of people didn't understand on why they were going into the streets. They had an idea, but they didn't really understand the reason why the Gen Zs were on the street, given that they took credit for the failure of the finance bill, which people thought was a big achievement, and it was attributed to the Gen Z led demonstrations that led to the failure of the finance bill 2024-2025. We go straight to our topics. This is the first one. I'll hope to hear from you on what you think about this first show of the talk with me, Kimotho HSC. I stand corrected on anything that might seem need clarifications, but we shall make sure that we give facts. We won't deal with assumptions and what have you. The talk. It is what has been talked. It is what we shall try to break down and maybe make the common mwananchi understand. Are you hoodwink? Is it the right thing? Are we on the right track? So let's jump into it. First and foremost, I want us to dwell on duplication or in public service. This is a thing that is happening in most of our state-owned institutions. Not only the public service, but also various institutions. The other day we had the president talk about closing down parastatos, but it is what he said next that people should look at. He said that closing down the parastatus means that he or the government will take the people that will have moved from those parastatus and absorb them elsewhere. It is simply a duplication of responsibilities. You have collapsed parastatus because you don't think they are performing or their ROI, return on investment, is enough to keep them running. But then you take the same people to other parastatals or other government agencies where you have people already working in those government agencies, and you bring in more people to work on those government agencies. It means you shall duplicate a lot of the responsibilities in those parastatals that you shall bring in these peoples from the closed down parastatals. And for example, the public service, you realize that we have the CS public service, we have the head of public service, we have the public service commission, of which they all independently answer to one office. For example, the president might decide to call the public service commission. He doesn't have to go through the CS public service. He doesn't have to go through the head of public service, or to talk to talk to the head of public service. He doesn't have to go to the CS public service, and there you'll find that they will be working in this around the same environment, but actually everyone not in tandem with the other, because you have been given a responsibility, you have been given a call, and to do such and such, and then your counterpart is on the other end making other changes or doing other responsibilities. And this was pointed out actually by Moses Kuri when he was talking about the bureaucracy in government, that you may be working for the government, but in real sense, there is other people working for the same government within your office, but not from your directives, but from directives maybe from elsewhere, without communication coming from you. And I want to rest it at that, on duplication. We just think of government and how it duplicates the certain responsibilities. I also want to look at county governments and the money in county governments, allocated to county governments, is very little compared to what we see. The county governments really struggle to make sure that everything within them works. You realize, for example, ask yourself, the county governments is made up of it's like a government, a mini government within the national government. It has workers, it has responsibilities, it has projects, and so many things that need money and funds to run. And this is where we should be looking at mostly when it comes to county governments, national governments, with the issue to do with recurrent expenditures. These recurrent expenditures are taking a toll on us, seriously. They are really taking a toll on us. For example, I'll take an example on county government when it comes to paying wages. A county government has ministries: sports, gender, culture. For example, take sports. Within sports, below sports, you will have other people who depend on the government funds to run sports. You'll have the players, you'll have maybe you'll have the kids to help them play. You'll have transportation fees, you'll have fees for physios, you'll have funds for joy riders, you'll have funds for maybe accommodation. And at this stage, the common mwananchi still awaits for the services of the county government. The common mwananchi still awaits to see projects, roads. Apart from this, maybe someone will argue that this also is bringing about employment, but then there is that common mwananchi who wants a road. There is that common mwananchi who need the street rights working for security purposes of their businesses, maybe for their well-being. How do we balance these funds from the county government to the common mwananchi to creating employment? And there has been a conversation going on that we need to review the 2010 constitution and maybe scrap all these county governments that take a toll on us when it comes to recurrent expenditure. And cutting down these counties will really help. But then you will find that the common mwananchi will be hoodwinked, because the same people we want to cut off from these elective seats, from these county government, are the same people we want to maybe expect their help when it comes to making it a reality that we should really cut off the county governments, maybe to 8. Eric Mondi was supposing to 8. Maybe that's okay, given the regions, the former regions. 8. It's a good number. It's a good number from 47 counties. Will save a lot of funds from cutting down this county government. And it was the same when it came to cabinet secretaries. The Gen Z-led movement was proposing, with all due respect, that whoever put cabinet secretaries from around 14 to 21 had a reason to do 14. They knew that it was possible to run government with 14 cabinet secretaries. So why did we have to go for 21 when we could have run with 14, 15, or maybe 16? At least cut down on recurrent expenditure, because you realize below a cabinet secretary you have a permanent secretary. Some ministries have a director general. These people have PAs. These people have vehicles. These people have mileage. A lot of funds go through or maybe get used in the midst of the ministries before it even gets down to the people. A lot of conferences for nothing, whereas the people have the solutions to these things. We could have done with 14, maybe 15, maybe 16. We did not have any reason to go for 21 or so, whatever the number we have right now. And these recurrent expenditures, we all know them. These are the wages, the salaries, payment of goods, interest payments, subsidies, and transfers, if any, including capital expenditure, which is a whole another of talk. The capital expenditure, which is payments of acquisition of fixed capital assets, stock, land, and or even tangible assets that the government has or wants to have. Well, I'll leave it at that. On duplication of responsibilities. I want to say that this has been said time and again, that doing good is not enough. In politics, doing good is not enough. You need to do more. And this is the reason why the parastatals are running into losses because of recurrent expenditure. But then when we talk about is this a time to change the government structure? We have seen what we have now as broad-based government. It's not new. We've had it in another form from 1987, 2007, 2017, and now 2024, just having a different name. We had cooperation, we have a coalition government, we had a hardship government, now it's a broad-based government. I think it is, most people think that it is about time we checked and the government structure, and maybe this is something the past regime had tried and maybe we overlooked due to some issues there, here and there, of political expediency. Happened a lot of that time when we had the BBI. It was a chance for us to maybe restructure the government structure. Maybe we should look at that. And maybe something else is opposition CSs moving out. We've had it with Oparanya saying that if the government does not resign, he's ready to resign and maybe do something else. This is something that is bound to happen. We all know whatever we are experiencing as a country with the broad-based government is because probably maybe a person like Raila is fully aware that he all needs the government support. He all needs the peace in the country to clinch the AUC seat. But what happens after the AUC seat? Will the government of national unity still stick to its course, or it will break? Is Raila here to make or to break? Whatever the outcome of AUC, Raila remains to be Raila, and he might just walk out of the government. He got what he needed. He will have maybe lost or got the AUC seat. He will be ready to take on the next battle. And taking the next battle is taking it to the doorstep of William Samoei Ruto. Is he ready for that? Is the Kenya Kwanza regime ready for that? Last thing we shall talk about is the toll fees being proposed on tax-billed roads. This is hilarious. First of all, we have the levy. The levy is something that has got to do with our taxes and maybe being brought back to maybe repair our roads, the levy tax. Then we are paying tax. Then they want to also they also want us to pay tax, or maybe in form of toll fees on the roads that have been built through our taxes. Someone else will argue through loans, but these loans also they will be paid by our taxes. Why are we double taxing Kenyans? Is it sustainable? Is it worth it? What is it for? As Kenyans, we have to ask ourselves this question, and I have to thank a person like Morara Kebaso for the work he's doing on exposing the stalled government projects that have been launched, relaunched, and still stalled, but money still comes out. Someone will argue that this is what we call a budgeted corruption. Because why would we have launched projects? Money is allocated, nothing is done, the projects are being relaunched, no updates on whatever happened before. It is relaunched, money is allocated, more money is allocated, yet nothing is still being done on these projects. But then we go ahead and say it's okay, we can move on, we look ahead. This is what Kenyans must focus on. They must not focus on petty PRs from government and other few individuals. We must focus on issues. Is the government delivering? Is the government doing what we sent them there to do? We have to look at these things focused and make sure that we ask the right questions. And if it is not satisfactory, we have a right to walk out of these petty PRs and make sure we don't get involved in them. That is it for today. I'm happy. I'm your person, Ikimodo HSC, the son of Netunu. This is the first show. I'll be waiting to hear on your views on this first episode right there in the comment sections. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We make it great, me and you together. Every next episode becomes better and even more better than this, than the next one. Be a part of this journey. Be a part of this journey and let us walk together. Until next time, have yourself a great time, great days, great weeks, great moments, great companionships within your circles. Peace.